Good day. Welcome to the Dev Report Episode 8. This is the monthly update for the turn-based grand strategy game, Sunset Over Lievnos. My name is Tyson Villeneuve. I'm the programmer for Sunset Over Lievnos, and this episode we will be talking about the progress for the months of June and July. Now, I said earlier that this was a monthly update, but we actually missed June, and here's the reason why. Originally, I was planning on having Justin and Kelsey for that episode, and they were actually coming up in the middle of June, so to help me to do shingling on my roof. So they came up in the middle of June, and unfortunately, the roofing took way longer than we thought. We put in one 15-hour day, a 12-hour day, and we couldn't quite, well, we did get it done that weekend, but we didn't have time to do the podcast. And then July rolled around, and that was just a super busy month for obligations. So every weekend in July was booked for some family get-together or something like that. So we didn't have any time to record anything then. But what I should have done and what I will do in the future if something like this comes up is just throw out a tweet or an update on Facebook or something like that. So I apologize for not updating. But here we are, end of July. So I'm going to talk about what we did during June and July. I guess part of the other reason for a lack of update is that June, not a lot happened in June in terms of going forward. And now the last update that I talked about, I was talking about optimizations. Well, it turns out that topic was huge, and I thought that I had figured out most of it. And there was more to it than I thought. So I was worried about batching and sprite sheets and number of draw calls and draw order, and it got really complicated, and I ended up having to redo a lot of what I had already done in a new system. So I created a new system that delivered the graphical content and the graphical pipeline a lot better, but I had to redo a lot of the stuff that I had done. In hindsight, it would have been nice to have all that stuff figured out at the beginning, but this being our first kind of major game in Unity, I guess it really wasn't that possible, and we just learning as we go. So anyways, but the plus side is I did achieve most of that. It's still not where I'd like it. I think if we ever move it to mobile, we're going to have maybe a few issues, maybe on older devices. It's hard to say because I don't want to spend a lot of time there yet because it may never end up there. So I don't want to dedicate a lot of resources until we're there. So I think we're in I don't have any hesitations now that it's going to be fine on PC. We were having some delays on PC that are just not there anymore. So I've roughly optimized it performance-wise, some 60 to 70%, somewhere in there. So originally I was having some slight delays where it was like 150 milliseconds or 200 milliseconds it would take to draw a menu when you first clicked it, and that's now under 50 or something like that. So there's no real visible hesitation anymore. So that for PC anyway, I think we're okay. And also that 50 milliseconds is on the most complicated screen that we have so far. So hopefully that'll work forward. Not forward. It'll work better going forward. In July though, we did see quite a lot of progress. So I spent a lot of July actually working on two core things. One is the user interfaces, which I was able to connect, or at least we're starting to connect what Kelsey and Justin have been working on, which is awesome. And updating a lot of the old controls to using this new optimization, and then building some new user interfaces. But the most exciting thing is that I've got it now that it's actually like a playable game. So now you can actually go in, start your turn, load a save game. You can start a scenario or load your save game. You can't save the game yet, but that's going to be quite easy to do. But you can, right now we have a dummy save game that we just created. You can load that save game. You can go in, you can assign officers to developing economy, agriculture, defense, so any of the developed things. And you can also have a full turn cycle. So now you can end your turn, and at the beginning of your turn, the monthly events are reported on. The generator for the events isn't done yet, but it still fakes it. So the report window comes up for the events, and then it also recognizes when you haven't clicked on a province for your turn yet, and before you could click on any province and get their stats, now you can only click on your own provinces to get stats. The next step on that front will be showing stats on not your provinces for the information from the last time you spied on them. So that one won't be too hard to put in, I don't think. But now you can see which provinces on the map you haven't done yet. So when you click on a province for the first time, it brings up the monthly report for all of the development that you did last round. So now all the assignments are actually simulated. So there's only a few assignments types yet, and the simulation isn't really accurate right now. It's very linear and just like simulated really quick, but it is still pretty cool to be able to go in, assign officers to a task, end your turn, go back to that province, and then get a report of all the progress that was done that month. And the other thing is that it actually updates the province stats, so your economy and your defense and agriculture actually get better over that month, and you actually lose money proportional to how many officers you put to develop it. So that's going really good. The next, let's see here, what's next on the list? So on Erica's front, we part of the optimization was figuring out how to do windows. Now, we were originally going to have like a whole bunch of different types of windows and have everything quite different. I think we're not going to do that anymore. It might be okay for PC, but we really want to just make sure that it's running really fast. So I think that would be a lot of extra time for Erica to draw all those windows for one thing, and then we also run the risk of having performance problems later. And the other thing is that route didn't give us a lot of flexibility for how sizing of the windows. So the new system uses a window it just takes a bunch of parts and it builds windows dynamically. So we can put all those things on one sprite sheet and all those elements of a window on a sprite sheet and then create any window we want dynamically. So then Erica only has to do one set of assets for it, which I believe she's working on right now. So I think that's going to be a big step because we've got a lot of these windows done, but they're all using kind of temporary art, and some of it I ripped off of Google, so I don't really want to show screenshots of other people's artwork yet, or at all. So what I'm hoping is that Erica will be able to finish the windows and all that kind of stuff fairly soon, so that we can start showing these screenshots and so that part's really cool. Is that we're close. We're getting close to being able to show new screenshots and actually talk about like gameplay things that we're changing. Well, we're there right now. We're like the game is actually playable right now, and so we've got another month and a half before the two fall conventions, and so we would like to be able to have. Now, we had a list of things. Maybe I'll talk about that next month. I'll bring that list of we'll be close to figuring it out by then too. So at the Edmonton Expo and the Sask Expo, what features and what stuff we can actually show. So we're gonna probably have it playable at that show, and so it won't be playable really. Like you won't want to sit down in our booth for an hour and play it because it's a turn-based game, but we can still demonstrate to you like here's the game and here's like an example of what a turn looks like and stuff like that, which we couldn't do before. So that'll be really cool. So Kelsey and Justin, they're going to continue working on UIs. I have a couple of controls to build, to update into the new system so that they can start working on those. So like things like drop down list, and we've got like a number selector and like those kind of things. So a lot of those controls were using the old system and they were not efficient at all. And now that I've put that new system in, they kind of break the game. So I think I've got 2 controls left, so I should be able to finish those in the next couple of days, and then they can start working on. I think they're going to work on the rest of the assignment stuff. So there's the main categories. If you look at the screenshot, you can see that you can assign officers is one of the biggest things. There's politics, there's military, and there's records. So the assignment is where I would say 70% of the game happens. That's where the 70% of the gameplay is, where you're assigning your officers to do things. So they're working on the user interfaces to be able to gather information from the player to create those assignments. So things like, I think one of the next ones we're going to try and get to do is searching. So you can assign an officer to search a province. So that's going to be huge because searching a province is tied closely to the event system. So that's how you deliver your story and all that kind of stuff. So sending message and searching are those two big things. I think we're going to try those, and then so they're going to continue working on that. I think for the fall expo, we're going to not worry about the battle yet. I think that's going to be a big, complicated component that we're going to leave till after that. But I think we're going to try and get as many things to assignment as possible. I would like to be able to do searching a province and finding an item or something like that. So I think what I'm going to be working on next will be the event system. So basically the skeleton of the event system and one or two of those events so that we can demonstrate what the event system looks like. So it might look like the event system is tied to a lot of things. Like it's very flexible, so we can do messaging through it and world events and searching and all those kind of things. So we might do something simple like I said, finding a random item. That the random item generator and the random special unit generator are already done. Kelsey and Justin did those, so now we can just hook that up and use that. So I might do a search. Once I don't know who's going to do the search UI, but whoever, Kelsey or Justin, whenever they finish that, then I'll hook it up to the event system and I'll work on that at the same time, and then we can plug it all together and then put the random item generator in with the search event, so we can demonstrate a couple of things. So that the only problem with that, it might be a little bit tricky because that also means we're going to have to worry about like item management and the item management UI and all those kind of things. We might be able to take a few shortcuts and just, instead of just finding an item and then being able to assign it, you can just it'll just go to whoever officer found it at first. So, but the cool thing is now we're talking about gameplay stuff, which is super exciting. And I'm hoping that progress will look like it's going faster from this point on, because it's hard to talk about things when like the system stuff when nobody cares about it. So we do have a plan. Probably, I would guess, probably at the end of August we want to actually start updating on our our forum or another forum with a dev report, like a weekly. Here's the features that we added, and we also want to identify. And maybe we can have a conversation about that. If we kind of already did at some point, we want to talk about what will be kind of our alpha state and when we can start bringing on people to play it. So I think we're a little ways away from that yet, but it's closer than it's ever been. So it's pretty exciting. Anyways, I think and then so Erica she's going to be doing a lot of those UI art pieces now, I think. So the sooner she gets that stuff done, then the sooner we can show some new screenshots and stuff. So I think I'm going to be getting her to work on that stuff. And then if she's got any extra time, she can work on more portraits and items and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's all for this month. I'll try not to be late next month. Actually, I think I'll probably post this one a little bit early. I think tomorrow's actually the 31st of July, and we usually post the first Monday of the month, but I think this is close enough, especially considering we were late last time. So anyways, the one other thing I wanted to say, I've noticed that we've got a few new followers and stuff on social media and on Facebook and stuff like that. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. Love to hear your stories about how you found us and what things, like I'm assuming that a lot of you are here because you're strategy gamers or maybe fans of Gemfire. So I would love to hear your strategy gaming experience. So if you like Gemfire, like what is it about Gemfire that you like? And if you're a strategy gamer, what types of games have you play? Throw them in the comments either on this YouTube video or on our Facebook page. All right. Thanks again. And yeah, I'll see you next month. Bye now.